Sunday's race at Albert Park was packed with excitement and filled with moments that caused disagreement and controversy. We witnessed a series of captivating events unfold before our eyes. In fact, there were not one, not two, but a total of 4 red flags displayed during the race on that unforgettable Sunday. However, amidst all the action, there were some drivers who faced disappointment in Melbourne. One of them was Carlos Sainz, who unfortunately had to bear the weight of a time penalty imposed by the stewards. This penalty was a consequence of the 3rd red flag start. Now let's delve deeper into the race at Albert Park. Can you imagine how intense it must have been for the drivers when they saw those red flags waving? What could have possibly caused such a high number of red flags? Do you think the stewards were fair in penalizing Carlos Sainz? Let's find out more about the thrilling moments and controversies that made this race so unforgettable. During his time racing for Ferrari, Carlos Sainz found himself in a rather unfortunate situation. He failed to give enough room on the inside line, leading to a direct collision with his fellow driver Fernando Alonso. This incident occurred while Alonso was engaged in an intense battle with the 2 leading drivers of the race. The consequences of this collision were significant and caught the attention of the FIA. According to the FIA, Sainz had a chance to avoid this incident. They believed that he had the opportunity to take measures that could have prevented the collision. Consequently, the FIA made the decision to impose a penalty on Sainz. It is worth noting that the penalty given to Sainz was relatively severe, indicating the seriousness of the situation and the impact it had on the race. Let's think about this for a moment. Can you imagine the pressure and intensity of racing at such high speeds? In the heat of the moment, split-second decisions can have significant consequences. What could have influenced Sainz's actions in that critical moment? With only 2 laps remaining, a final standing start took place. At this crucial moment, Sainz attempted to overtake his fellow Spaniard and secure a podium position. However, in his pursuit, Sainz inadvertently made contact with the wheel of the Aston Martin, causing it to spin around. During the additional red flag interruption, he received notification of his penalty, which entailed adding 5 seconds to his total race time. The Ferrari driver was livid and angry over the team radio, stating, "No, this is unacceptable. Please convey to them that it is unacceptable and they should wait until the race concludes to discuss it with me. It is evident that the penalty is undeserved and excessively harsh." While a 5-second penalty may not be the harshest punishment in the FIA's arsenal, its impact was significant as the race concluded under yellow flag conditions. Consequently, those precious seconds dropped him down to 12th place, the last among the classified runners. There were debates surrounding whether Sainz should have been penalized to such an extent, considering the incident happened during a standing restart. Typically, the FIA grants drivers more leniency during race starts. However, the governing body clarified that it did consider this aspect when imposing the penalty. In its official statement regarding the incident, the FIA stated, "After examining various sources of evidence, including positioning and marshalling system data, video footage, timing records, telemetry, team radio communications, and in-car video footage, the stewards concluded that a collision occurred between car 55, Sainz, and car 14, Alonso, at the first corner of the restart. Car 55 was found solely responsible for the collision, as determined by the authorities. Despite car 14 being significantly ahead of car 55 at the first corner, car 55 drove into car 14, resulting in its spin and departure from the track. Consequently, a 5-second penalty was imposed on car 55. To avoid any confusion, it should be noted that the incident occurred during the first lap of the restart, where the stewards traditionally tend to approach incidents with more leniency. FIA added, "Nevertheless, in this specific instance, despite it resembling a first lap incident, we determined that there was a significant gap available for car 55 to take evasive action and prevent the collision, which was not done. Sainz had the opportunity to appeal against the penalty and expressed his intention to meet with the stewards at the earliest opportunity following the race to present his arguments. Sainz's penalty marked the culmination of a dismal afternoon for Ferrari, as Charles Leclerc's race ended prematurely on the first lap when he was forced into the gravel at turn 3. Alonso expressed his opinion that the penalty imposed on Sainz was likely too severe. He argued that it is challenging to accurately assess the level of grip on the track during the first lap. Alonso emphasized that drivers do not intentionally aim to collide with other cars, as they know the potential risks to their vehicles and final positions. He acknowledged that sometimes drivers find themselves in unfavorable positions, an inherent part of racing. Although Alonso did not thoroughly review the replay, the penalty seemed excessively harsh. Ferrari's team principal, Frederic Vasseur, expressed his bewilderment and regarded the penalty as unjust, particularly due to its promptness. He highlighted the frustration of the decision being made hastily, allowing no opportunity for Sainz to present his perspective of the incident. Vasseur further emphasized that the penalty had no bearing on the podium outcome, intensifying the sense of disappointment and frustration. Ferrari experienced the most significant setbacks in this weekend's Grand Prix, as both drivers failed to secure any points. The outcome of this race raises questions about the potential impact on their overall performance in the 2023 season. The extent of the consequences of Ferrari's campaign is yet to be determined. Carlos Sainz was extremely angry upon receiving the penalty and regarded it as a disgraceful decision. He intended to converse with the stewards before offering further comments. Carlos Sainz expressed his decision not to provide any comments until he had the chance to speak with the stewards and urged them to reconsider their decision. He described the incident as the most disgraceful he had witnessed in years within the sport. Sainz emphasized his reluctance to make any statement that he might regret later, and stated his priority was engaging in discussions with the stewards. Sainz expressed that he had a promising start to the race and felt confident using the medium tires. However, their luck turned sour as they made a pit stop just before the first red flag, dropping to 11th place. Despite this setback, Sainz showcased an impressive comeback, executing successful overtakes and maintaining a consistent pace, which left him content. He described the overall race as a positive experience, but unfortunately, the penalty completely overshadowed the team's hard work, leading him to strongly disagree with it. His frustration will be challenging to process, but he aims to focus on the positives from their performance and shift his attention toward the next race. Fans were outraged by the penalty decision and expressed their discontent on behalf of Sainz.